ETs are telling me that right now, the beginning of February 2026, the new Earth consciousness is exploding into existence. And that is the reason why everything is going crazy. So in this video, I'm going to take you through what I'm being shown is happening right now and the reasons why all of these things are happening the way that they are. So first thing I just need to acknowledge is on my own personal experience for the past couple of days, the amount of energy that has been coming to me has been huge. So much so where I can hardly function. And I was told this was going to happen. I got some light being friends showed up yesterday and told me that be prepared. You are about to receive a huge amount of energy. Everything is going to shift even more. I know they say this all the time, but every time it just keeps getting more and more intense and more powerful. So I want to stress that we are right now in the midst of the new Earth exploding into existence. This is what we have been waiting for. This is what we have been talking about. What is happening now, what we're seeing externally on the Earth, this is only the beginning. It is there's no way to stop this. It's just not possible. So let's go ahead and get into what is happening here. So the first thing is that there is a massive solar storm that is hitting the Earth right now, and I can feel it. And so what ends up happening when you do human-initiated contact with higher dimensional beings is that not just your nervous system, but your energy system, if you want to call it your astral body, your Dantian system, your meridian system, these things become awakened and more empowered. So when there's solar radiation that starts hitting the Earth, my energy body immediately kicks into gear and I can feel it. This is the best time to communicate with higher dimensional beings because the solar radiation gets rid of the electromagnetic field around the Earth, and that is really the electromagnetic field around the Earth, besides all whatever it does scientifically, the specific frequency of it actually keeps the third dimension in. So when we have massive solar storms like this, it opens up holes in the radiation field and higher dimensional energy can come into our world. So this is the best time to do astral travel, to communicate with beings, to do CE5, to do human-initiated contact with, whatever beings are out there. And so I can't help but think that the most recent meditation we did, remember the meditation we did on Wednesday where we sent energy into Earth's atmosphere and we opened up what I call the white hole, and then here it is, a couple days later, and the amount of energy that's hitting us is huge. I can't imagine that we didn't have something to do with that. Light beings tell me that we do. I mean, every time we do meditations like this, and especially when we, really go large in descending energy to Earth, the light beings come back and say, you have no idea what you're accomplishing. Things are changing so dramatically, like we're shifting even what was going to shift, we're shifting it to an even higher level. So that's the first thing. If you're feeling a lot of energy, it's because we're getting massive solar energy hitting the Earth from the sun. So we also have astrological alignments activated. I'll put links in the description. And I recently made a video about why the first part of 2026 was going to set the stage for massive, huge shifting. And this was just coming from a Vedic astrological perspective. So now that we're in it, I'm seeing it. And astrologically speaking, we are in a period that is unheard of. There are alignments that haven't happened for thousands and thousands of years. So, I mean, it's not a surprise to me. When I made the video saying here are the astrological alignments and here's what Vedic astrology says is going to happen, it's coming, the shift is coming, here's what's going to happen with government and all of that, I was hoping, but sure enough, we're seeing it. I mean, the things that are happening, especially with the Epstein list. First off, let me just say, as I've said before, this is a smokescreen. And so don't believe that what's happening right now is that, they're knuckling under and they have to give out, or they've made mistakes. They've thrown a lot of people under the bus, including, certain orange people, I mean, that really nasty things that are being revealed about that individual. We've got royal figures from British royalty. We've got people in high level positions, even talking about, getting rid of the British, the UK Prime Minister because of this. Now, understand, as crazy and intense as that may seem, and it is, it's a smokescreen. It means that the things that they're hiding are 1,000 times worse. But the most important thing it means that it's closing in around them. That the dark force elites who are running this world, they are feeling the walls closing in around them, and they're throwing out as much as they can, if you're getting surrounded by wolves, if you throw out, steaks and, chicken, they'll go rushing after that. That's happening. The press and even the independent press, meaning like social media, is grabbing this and going nuts on it. And what the elites think is that that's going to pacify them. And then they'll be able to then figure out a way to cover things up and get things back to normal. But all that's going to happen is it's whetting the appetite. But make no mistake, it's a smokescreen. It means that they've consciously thrown these people under the bus. Politicians, presidents, prime ministers, figures in royalty, they are consciously doing it. It means that what is behind that, once we get to, the PDF files nonsense, that's that horrible thing, that's just the external cover of the corruption and the horrific things that are going on. Once what they're really, I don't have any information on this. This isn't a fact. It's just my intuition. We'll find out if I'm right or not. I could be wrong. But my intuition tells me that the next two things that are going to come out are going to be that Epstein wasn't just somebody who had a lot of power to do all these really despicable things and to seduce powerful people into it so that he could blackmail them, which all of that seems to be true based on the reporting of others. But that when you find out how powerful this man was or is, according to some people are saying there's evidence he's still alive. When you find out how powerful this man was, you realize, I mean, think about it. We're talking about the British royal family going to Epstein and kissing his rear end, calling him all kinds of names, bringing their family to meet him. It wasn't just because it was some New York socialite who made his way up the ranks and somehow got popular. It means that he represents the people who are really in power, and that he was their representative. And only one of the things is to get dirt on people so that they could be manipulated and coerced and blackmailed. That's just the tip of it. It means that there are things that he was doing with governments, with people in high-ranking positions that control the world, that if we understood it, we would be absolutely shocked. Now, again, I don't have any evidence for any of this. This is just my intuition. We'll find out if I'm right or not. But what it does tell me, even though I know this is a smokescreen, I know that the things that are coming out are what has been determined. We're going to let them have this. We're going to let them have this. We're going to throw these people under the bus. Even though that is deliberate, it doesn't mean that they're safe. It means that they're trapped in a corner. This is panic. Remember, I told you they were panicking. We can see it now. But the thing is, as I said, the wolves are now circling, and these scraps that are being thrown to them, all it's doing is it's just whetting their appetite, making them salivate, and the wolves are going to come after them even harder than before. So watch what happens. I can't imagine that this doesn't just cascade into something far more intense. Now, that's just looking at it. That's what I see looking at it. But from an astrological perspective, this is what we have been saying based on Vedic astrology. This was what was going to happen to the elites in power. Remember, we've got the shadow planet Ketu. Ketu is hovering over the sign of Leo. And what's happening right now is that it's moving towards the center, the power center of Leo, which is the nakshatra of Magha. It's not in Magha yet, it's getting there. So what you're seeing is the superficial parts of the kingly, the political realm, which is Leo represents the king, the rulers. Ketu represents the portal to the highest, most powerful spiritual, God, if you will. If there was one planet that represents the center of consciousness, of God, it would be Ketu. That's why Ketu represents death in the third dimension. And so wherever Ketu is, he absolutely destroys anything associated with third dimensional attachment. So if he's now over the realm of the kings, that means that the energy that is coming through him is coming directly from the highest consciousness, which is directly opposite as we're seeing. We're seeing how horrifically evil, and I mean that in a literal sense, how evil, how demonic. There are people that are reporting that Satanism and satanic worship and ritual is rampant among the ultra elite. That's not me talking. I don't have that information. I'm just repeating what many investigative reporters are suggesting exists, and that the Epstein files are showing that. This is just the beginning. That's what I'm getting from the light beings, from the ETs, and that's what Vedic astrology is saying. There's all kinds of other things going on, but I'll put links in of videos that I've made. You can watch that. All right, so solar and lunar eclipses almost here. So solar and lunar eclipses, what they do is they reveal hidden truths, and they create, each time that there's a solar eclipse, there's a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. I forget which one comes first. I think it's the solar one. I could be wrong. But they're a couple weeks apart. But what happens is one will kickstart a revelation of some kind, or kickstart some kind of massive shift. And then there's a 2-week period where then the second one, I think it's lunar, that one opens up the mental awareness. And so from that point on, there's a huge cycle where the effects of those solar and lunar eclipses do their work. So watch what happens. These eclipses are going to kickstart this into a much higher gear. You're going to see revelations that are going to continue to be even more shocking. And so people are just now starting to see the depth and the reality of the horrific disgustingness of the PDF files. that are being revealed, and the people that have been involved in it, and how rampant it is in the highest level of the elites that we can see. So I kind of forgot what I was saying about that, but the next thing that's going to happen is the revelation of extraterrestrials. The UFO programs, the fake UFO programs, the human alien hybrid program that we talked about, that ETs have told me is happening on planet Earth. There are other experiments that, according to ETs and according to experts like Dr. Stephen Greer, there are other experiments having to do with ET physiology and human physiology and psychic abilities and psychic tech that if you knew what was going on, it would make you sick to your stomach. It's so horrific. And even I heard Donald Trump talk about a supposed secret weapon that was used against Maduro called the discombobulator. He didn't say what that was, other than he said was it took out all of their stuff. Now, I don't know what that means, but what it sounds like he's saying is that this energy weapon that of course nobody else has, that Venezuela wouldn't have any defense against, went in and shut down all of their technology, all of their weapons, all of their radio, all of their everything. That's what it sounds like. He didn't say that. I don't have any evidence for that. But when he talked about the discombobulator, that's what it sounded like. So for them to openly use that and to talk about it, it means, again, that we're coming to this stage where when the revelation of the depth of the so-called UFO retrieval program, which again is a smokescreen, that the so-called whistleblowers are revealing. And remember, any whistleblower that is supposedly ex-military, who's still walking upright, who's not floating face down in a river somewhere, and who gets to sit in the front row, on mainstream news, like, part of the set design. They're sitting in the front row in Congress, and you hear somebody say, there are UFOs in the sky and humans don't have this kind of technology. We need to secure our skies. It's a lie. It's a lie. So what we're going to find out is what is really going on in those programs. And as that happens, what is the biggest revelation is going to be the revelation of the true nature of extraterrestrials, which they are not third dimensional beings. They're not grays walking around abducting people and putting things in orifices. They are the true ETs are higher dimensional beings that have been the elves, the angels of our mythology. Because people who didn't understand about space and space travel, when an extraterrestrial appeared in front of them, the only experience they're going to have is they're seeing an angel that's communicating to them. If you experience their energy, which I have, and if you've done the practices that I teach, if you've done CE5 and been successful, you felt their energy. You know that what I'm talking about. It feels like you're having a spiritual experience. And when it comes out what these beings are, and more importantly, what is their connection to our history and the history of Earth, and when we find out the hidden history of the one world, very powerful, highly advanced spiritual civilization that was on Earth 13,000 years ago, and the connection to the elites that became corrupt 13,000 years ago, and their continued evolution and connection all the way up until the present day, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the elites who are now trying to prevent their destruction, Those people are, at the very least, the spiritual descendants, if not the reincarnated descendants, of the elites who became corrupt 13,000 years ago, who started a war against the higher dimensional extraterrestrials, as well as the Lemurians, the guardians of the earth, and caused Earth to fall to such a degree that we lost everything. They have been working and perfecting their abilities. This is coming based on my interactions with extraterrestrials and beings even beyond them. That these descendants of those Atlantean elites have been rediscovering the ancient mind control weapons and technology that they wanted to perfect 13,000 years ago. And they were prevented from doing that in two ways. The king of Atlantis, he hid all that knowledge, and I believe that knowledge will be revealed under, I think, the left paw of the Sphinx. We'll find out. We're finding out that there's unbelievable tech underneath the pyramids, which, is mind-boggling. But I think we're going to find out the truth about that. And we're going to realize that human beings are massively powerful spiritual beings that have incarnated into these third dimensional beings. And that the fact that you have a chakra system in your body, the fact that you have a Dantian system, the 3 energy centers, the fact that you have Kundalini, the fact that you have all of these things within you that, if you do spiritual practices, will turn you into what people are looking for, enlightenment, but it turns you into a superhuman on a spiritual level, on an energetic level. We're going to find out that we have that because we are destined to be the most powerful gods incarnated in flesh. So I'm telling you, it is my belief, based on my experiences, that even higher dimensional extraterrestrials, it's very possible they don't have the level of, if you will, spiritual technology in their bodies. This is why it's a lie. The Anunnaki myth that Anunnakis bred, proto-humans, interbred them with extraterrestrial DNA in order to create humans so that they could enslave them. That is such a lie. It is the exact opposite. If you believe that lie, it means that you believe that you are a worthless piece of garbage, that you are a piece of tech that deserves to be thrown away. This is why the people, nefarious people have infiltrated the UFO community since the 70s. And Zecharia Sitchin, in my opinion, was an agent of disinformation, which is why he deliberately mistranslated the Sumerian texts to say that Anunnakis were space aliens that came and interbred with humans. And the truth is, if you do the slightest bit of research into the original Sumerian language and look at it, you'll find out that it doesn't say anything like that. And the reason why that this is being promoted is so that you won't understand when the truth hits you. And the truth is hitting us. And so, again, if anybody, you say you're interested in UFOs and you haven't scoured Dr. Stephen Greer's website and the thousands and thousands of documents that he has of actual whistleblowers of these programs, if you haven't looked at that, then you're not serious. And it's understandable. I sometimes get kind of, flabbergasted that my channel isn't, much more popular than it is. But the reason is, besides the fact that hopefully I'm not getting shadow banned, which is a real possibility, but assuming that's not the case, then what's really happening is that human consciousness is just not ready. It's just not ready. And so now's the time to make ourselves ready. So this is what this channel is all about. I'm hoping there's going to be a big explosion of conscious awareness. I hope that the things that I'm sharing and that other people who actually have experience, will start to go viral. By the way, before I go any further, don't take anything I say for granted. Don't believe me just because I say something. I've got people writing in the comments and they say, I've heard people say, and they're trying to ask me questions about ETs and things. And it's frustrating to me because that's how most humans are. They just go with what they're being told. I've never been like that. And I encourage you to adopt my philosophy on this, which is that I never believe anything anybody tells me. I never believe anything that's just written down. If I hear about something that I find interesting or that I want to disprove, I will then seek to find out through personal experience whether it's true or not. So when you ask me questions about ETs, I'm coming from my experience, but I am not setting myself up as a prophet. I'm not setting myself up as a cult leader. I don't want you to just simply parrot what I say, and I want you to find out. I'm okay if you find out something and you find out that I'm wrong. I'm gonna be wrong about a lot of things. I'm prepared to change my opinion about all kinds of things. A lot of it is, it's stuff that's beyond my ability to comprehend, so I do my best to try and figure out what it must mean. So I'm prepared to be wrong, which means you shouldn't simply follow me because I'm saying something. But what I do think you should do is follow what I've done. Do CE5. Do human-initiated contact with not just extraterrestrials. You can do it with Lemurians. You can do it with gods. You can do it with Sasquatch. You can do it with any non-physical being. And it'll work or it won't work. And yes, there is a possibility that you will be wrong, that you'll be projecting your fantasies and your fears. People come to me all the time and they want to argue about what certain beings are. And based on my experience, I believe I know that they're operating from their own unconscious fears or fantasies. And they've conflated that with actual astral travel or experience. Anyway. And that could be true about me. So prove me right or prove me wrong. And the only way you can do that is to do what I tell you to do, which is the practices. Then come to your own conclusions. Please, it's so important that we do that. All right, so the 3D, 5D shift is fully initiated. We'll find out if that's true. That is what I'm getting. The amount of energy that I'm getting hammered with by the light beings and the things that they're telling me, that we're so close. And, however you want to look at that 3D, 5D shift, I don't care. I don't care if you see that literally, that there's going to be one 5D world that's completely separate and it's a physical, real place, and then there's going to be a lower frequency 3D world and they won't be able to connect. I don't care if you see it as just being symbolic, that people's mindset, they're going to shift. Clearly that's happening. People are shifting, awakening, and we're seeing how horrible the horrible people are. And a lot of people are waking up every day. So it's here. It's not coming. It's not just starting. It's here. It's happening. And it's going to continue to get more and more separate, these two frequencies. We'll find out. I'm hoping that it turns out to be real, that I can actually shift myself to a completely different frequency on a beautiful, wonderful planet, but we'll find out. Human-initiated contact is in full swing, and I already talked about that. And again, what I want to say about that is that now's the time. Human beings have not had the ability to do this for all kinds of reasons. But the main reason is that it wasn't time. And so humans wouldn't have been able to connect fully and completely with higher dimensional beings, because it would make it impossible for them to function in the third dimensional matrix. And the third dimensional matrix was part of the creation of Earth. It was meant to be that way. And now that version of Earth is being deleted. And so now people can shift up, which means you will, when you experience these higher dimensional beings, you will be so absolutely shocked out of your 3D mind, you'll think you're going crazy, and maybe you will go crazy. I almost lost it. I almost didn't survive it. It was such a shock to me. But what's happened to me is going to start happening to everybody. So, anyway. Destruction of elites is happening now. The light beings are, as I've already said. This is it. This is the last hurrah. There is no recovering from this. You know, again, the wolves are surrounding them, and they are throwing out, they're pushing each other. There's like the real, the most powerful unknown elites are in the center, and then each successive ring, or you go further out, and Epstein and politicians were on the outer link, and they're getting pushed into the wolves. So it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Intention-based reality is here. This is something that is incredibly important. So the way that you've lived your life, the third dimensional matrix, which says go get a job, make a bunch of money, which, by the way, money doesn't exist. It's just an idea in your head. And two people agree on this idea, and then it's used to control. Money is really just social credit, and it's a form of manipulation and control. That's why in order to have money, you first have to go borrow it. You first have to get in debt. And debt is just simply the idea that I'm now beneath that person. And if you have X amount of money, somehow now I'm above that person in society. You actually don't have anything. It's just an idea. And people agree. When people stop agreeing on the concept of money, money will disappear, and we'll go back to what's real, which is, the earth is right here, and there's some wood, and you know how to make a house, and I know how to whatever. And we'll just go and we'll do things for each other, and we'll live, and you won't be able to have billions of non-existent dollars to hold over and control people. You won't have it. Okay, so intention-based reality is here. The point I'm trying to make is that now's the time to start thinking about what you truly want. It doesn't work if you try and intend something that you don't care about. So in other words, if you start wanting to intend becoming rich, becoming famous, that's not going to work. Don't believe me? Look at Nicki Minaj. What the hell is she? What is she doing? Does anybody? It's like, what do you think you're going to accomplish from this? People want this idea of becoming a billionaire like it means something. Watch what's going to happen. Being a billionaire only means something to the extent that we agree that money exists. And when the majority of the planet goes, we're not going to do this money banking thing anymore, guess what? Those billionaires don't have anything anymore. They have nothing. Just to give you an example, the prince, I forget his name, the one that's now being ostracized because of the pictures of him and Epstein, and him with doing things he's not supposed to be doing. What I find interesting is that he was living at the Royal Lodge, which is this giant, like 500-room mansion or something. And the punishment is that he got kicked out of that, and now he has to live in a 5-bedroom house in the country. Oh my God. And then worse, if that wasn't bad enough, then the royal family said to the staff, right? If they didn't want to work for the prince anymore, they didn't have to. So, oh my gosh, how horrible for him. He no longer gets to live in the state-sponsored, 100-room mansion called the Royal Lodge. And now he has to go live in a 5-bedroom house in the country. and he doesn't get any staff. Oh my God, how can he live? Just, that's the farce. But if they're doing that and they're doing it publicly, they're virtue signaling to the world. Look at us. Oh, that's got nothing to do with us. We didn't even know who this Epstein. We didn't know. Who was this guy? We don't know. He wasn't a super powerful, world broker guy who had access to, all the money and the Rothschilds. He's not that guy. I don't know what were you doing with him? It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They're not going to put him under investigation. They're not going to, put him in jail. They're just going to make him live in a 5-bedroom, upscale house in the country, without a cook and without a waiter and a butler. It's coming down, the whole thing. Anyway, intention-based reality is here. Intend your soul. What I was saying is you can't intend something you don't really want. So if you want to intend money and riches and fame, it won't work because your soul doesn't care about those things. This is why people who go after that are never happy. Because those things never resonated with your soul. You had a karma that you had to go play that game out and figure out that it's meaningless. And now you can listen to your soul. Your soul is only interested in what gives you joy. It's the only thing your soul is interested in. And if you focus on creating your deepest personal selfish joy, you will be able to create it. And that's what the new world is going to be. It's going to be people creating, projecting from their soul their true happiness and their true joy. And when you're operating from your true joy, you will help others with their true joy. It's impossible to go after your joy and harm others. So get rid of that law of one nonsense. Rise of the seed people. So this is a prophecy in Taoism that there's going to be a time when there will be a sage will come, and he will bring the knowledge of the true reality, the heaven on earth, and then he will also awaken the seed people. So the seed people are people who have the ability to plant the seeds of the new heaven on earth, the new reality. They also, if you want to call them, star seeds, same idea, that they have this ability within them to blossom into 5D beings. So this is we're going to start seeing these people. These people are going to start popping up out of nowhere. And so this is the time. We're now in that time. It's coming. And bottom line is we are defeating them. Your soul now has more power than anything. And if you operate from your soul, you are bulletproof. And when we together operate from our souls, just by doing that and focusing on creating our reality, those dark force elites, they are going to be completely defeated and destroyed. This is my understanding based on my astral travels and my communications with light beings. A lot more to come. If you have questions about anything, you can go ahead and put it in the comments section. But I want to ask you to do something first. There are people that are just dumping a lot of questions. They're new to the channel, so they don't know any better. That's okay. I appreciate that you like the channel and you want to ask questions. However, I want you to do something right now. I want you to go to Google and I want you to type in how to search keywords in someone's YouTube channel. So in other words, if you want to find out about extraterrestrials, you want to find out about Anunnakis, you want to find out about the Lemurians, you want to find out about mantis beings in my channel, type that in, search for that specifically in my channel, and then watch those videos before you start dumping a bunch of questions about things I've already talked about. Also, don't forget I have books out there. Go to michaelwilliamdenny.com, Denney, and you'll see my Amazon books. And there's 2 books in there having to do with extraterrestrials that I wrote during my awakening with them, which was Extraterrestrials Are Coming to Earth and the Interdimensional Revolution. And that will tell you a lot of things. That will answer a lot of questions about why there's no such thing as bad ETs, why there's no such thing as evil reptilians, and why it's absolutely necessary that you face your fears and drop your victim mentality if you want to make it into the next shift, which of course you can. Anybody can do it. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be confused. Just don't indulge in it. And please, if you want to keep this channel going, support the channel. Go here to thunderwizard.com, look at the memberships section, and look at the shop section. If you want to learn how to connect with ETs the way I do, go to contact.thunderwizard.com, and you'll learn all my tips and tricks that I learned about how you can best telepathically communicate and do it effectively. And if you want the most powerful practices in the world, go to maushan.thunderwizard.com. That said, my friends, I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves. And of course, don't forget to do the live guided interdimensional meditations every Wednesday and Saturday evening, right now, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. When I get back to the East Coast, it'll get back to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And if you can't make the live, go to the live section on my YouTube channel and just play those meditations. The last one we did was really great. Go and experience that. You'll understand why things are so powerful right now. I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves, and I will see you all very soon.